Well, hello. Back from South Florida. My God, it was so hot there, and I got back here. It was so cold. I had to turn the heat on. I'm going to start out this video with a quote from the actor who played the Terminator. I don't think I can get his accent just right, but "Screw your freedom." How could you be so clueless to have been governor of California? Well, it's California. I forgot about that. And be so dismissive of freedoms, even though they're becoming less and less enjoyed in this country. There's been so much going on, and I'd like to talk about some of the stuff I saw in Naples, Florida. I don't know if you know about Naples, Florida. I'll talk about that in a second. I know a lot of people want me to discuss what's going on over in the Mideast. There's been a lot, and the reaction. They're actually making plans, as even the best experts agree, about what to do next. But so far, somewhere near 800 people have been dispatched. I'm using the word dispatched instead of the other word because something is always listening, and you know what that is. 260 of those were from a peace and freedom music rally. It's really quite tragic. But what's going on over there has been going on for thousands of years. It doesn't make it any, less remarkable, because it is incredibly remarkable. But more information needs to come in, and the full reprisal in response to this has not yet even occurred. So it's still fresh. So what, if any, connection this is to the global cabal, or what I've quasi-humorously called Hydra, needs to make itself apparent to comment on this. So I know a lot of people think I'd be discussing this. Many Americans have been taken as well as dispatched during what's happened over the past few days, but this needs to play out a little further before comments can be made about it. There is, of course, much talk about another country I won't name, this being linked to the source of causation for this that may or may not be true. I was giving a lecture on electroculture, magnetism, and some other things, and I was talking to some friends in Naples. Naples, by the way, has way more money than Beverly Hills does. Just down from my motel was the Ferrari dealerships. There's a lot of money. So, but even though that part of Florida, even more so than South Beach, Miami, is money central, it's rather shocking, the stories that I've heard about what's happening there. People are suffering like dogs. People are not making their rent. And, it's just, when stuff like that happens to a bellwether city like Naples, that just has more money than you dare imagine. Naples is mega rich, literally more so than Beverly Hills. There's more money in Naples than there is in Beverly Hills. It's really shocking. Florida real estate has absolutely gone bat crazy. My buddy flew down there, went down to Key West, talked to a lot of people, and spent some time talking, and I was trying to gather information as well. Traffic is getting bad. That's because everybody's fleeing the blue states, and people have become wickedly broke. Insurance has fled. You can't basically get insurance on anything in Florida now, and you could attribute that to hurricanes and other things and have some truth in that, but that's not the whole picture. People are almost literally being strong-armed into selling their homes, and where are they going to move? What are they going to afford? Things are actually getting bad and dire in Florida. Protege of Hair Q-Tip, i.e. I'm going to call him Justina Castro. Canada is, what's going on? I feel so sorry for Canada. The level of tyranny over there, you just think, well, it's really, really bad. Let's hope it doesn't get worse. And it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. Canada is demanding journalists register with the state. They're cracking down on podcasters. They're creating an online media registry by the CRTC, which is basically the same as our FCC. The fine print says it's comprehensive, and it says that it only applies to media outfits that make X number of millions of dollars a year. So, Joe Blow podcaster superficially would think doesn't have anything to worry about. But also, too, in the fine print, it says that they can change that at any time for any reason. They can change the threshold to meet and go after any small media. There are documented evidences of people reporting on things that have happened in Canada recently. Small-time journalists, I mean, people even smaller than myself, not that I consider myself a journalist, that have already been arrested and fined. The UK and Australia now has an online safety act. Canada has something worse than this. They have the Online Safety Act, the Online News Act, and an Online Streaming Act. The safety is, by the way, the new word for control, just so you know that. These crown countries are falling under the tyranny the quickest, undeniably the quickest. This is, by the way, the difference between, as most people, Europeans especially, don't know the difference between a citizen and a subject. I suggest you go research that. All crown countries are actually the citizenry, or subjects, excuse me, are at-will subjects. This means they are at the disposal by any and all means to tyranny over them, and are at will to change, you know, their rights on the head of a dime relative to the state, or specifically the crown. Legal and financial destruction. You can say, well, this is not illegal in any of these crown countries like Kiwi land, Australia, Canada, UK. Well, what I'm speaking here is, I'm supported in the Magna Carta or whatever other sort of quasi-tyrannical rights that you think that you have. But what the governments are doing is that they're absolutely destroying these people under legal and financial destruction for defending yourself. If something is illegal, and what you've done is completely legal, and they financially destroy you and crush you, it is no different than it being illegal. And it lets you figure out how that works. But that is especially, now there's plenty of evidence of this happening in the United States, especially a very famous example, but it is especially true in these crown countries. Disinformation is anything that they deem it to be. Anything. And if you know you're within your rights, if they've destroyed you financially under the weight of legal weights on your neck and a boot on your neck, trying to defend yourself, and you've completely spent every dime you've got, you haven't accomplished anything. They've still achieved their goal. So this is called backdoor tyranny. You think you got the rights, but you really don't. You're expressing your rights, you've done nothing wrong, but you're still destroyed financially. My buddy actually bought a piece of artwork from an ex-Pat Canadian in Key West who fled Canadian tyranny. If I were able to clock back about 5 years ago, and I told you that, oh, by the way, my buddy was in Key West, and there was this art gallery, and he bought a piece of artwork from a Canadian artist who's fleeing hardcore Canadian tyranny, is an ex-Canadian expat. You're like, Canada? Canada's like become a, completely totalitarian state of destruction, where you are you're an at-will peon of the government. You'd like, no, you're crazy. But it has become that. I don't want to mention the artist's name in case he gets any feedback from this. Things are actually peaking really fast. I'm going to say this word in Russian so you know which country I'm talking about. The country is, because the algorithms are always listening, country is named Ukraine. And this is it's forbidden in other countries to talk about this, and it's basically forbidden to talk about this in this country, so I had to pause there before saying this. But everything there is about to collapse. There is basically 1,000,000% certainty, without the United States cash flow, an immediate collapse. And other entities that are in the know have actually said this as well. Collapse is imminent there. I don't want to go into the details of what's happening, but there is imminent collapse in this country. 300 kilometers of rail has been laid by the country to the east, that I'm going to say in Russian, Russia. So 300 kilometers of rail line is been laid by Russia into that other country that I first mentioned. They're on the edge of a major offensive. They're waiting for the ground to solidify under the extreme cold. Without our inflow of mega money, it would collapse overnight. There's even a surrender station in Ukraine. It's 149.200 megahertz. Like, hey, if you want to survive, call in your surrender. We'll debrief you on anything and everything you know, and then we'll feed you, and you won't have to be dispatched from this earth. It's a surrender station, 149.20 megahertz. So once again, safety is the new name for control. There's a UK Parliament Bill 3137, the UK Online Safety Bill, the so-called Misinformation and Disinformation Bill. The UK has become the vanguard for pushing this globalist agenda. Digital ID, CBDC, social digital credit score, complete surveillance, no privacy, complete control over narrative, censorship, and enforced centralized power over every aspect of your life by bureaucrats. By the way, the United States is making its way there. The UK, Oz, Canada, and Kiwi land have literally become the embodiment of the movie V for Vendetta. That's where the state has wandering trucks. They're listening in to everything you say and do. But, by the way, did you hear what Zoom recently did, where they have complete and total rights over everything you do over Zoom? Did you hear about that one? In the fine print of their changes of their clause for use of Zoom. Did you hear about that one? Here's the exact extract from the Parliament Bill for the 3137 UK Online Safety Bill. This bill would empower the UK government in situations to demand that online platforms use government-approved software to search through all of users' photos, files, messages, and scanning for illicit content. So the Online Safety Bill, literally UK, is going to become the first to cross the finish line to follow V for Vendetta, that movie. If you've not seen it, I don't know what's wrong with you. I think everybody on Earth has seen it. It's complete totalitarianism. Complete hegemonic control. You are underneath their thumb 100%. Things are actually heating up faster. What's going on in the Mideast right now is really too soon to make any definitive comments on. I mean, has it been going on for thousands of years? Yes, it has been. The link to another country, which I won't name, IRA, whether that's true or not, I'll let you make your... We're literally on the brink of all-out the dogs of war being let loose. That wonderful country that is the breadbasket of Eastern Europe would collapse overnight without the United States and NATO support. Whatever you think about that, I personally don't care. I mean, I really don't. That's not important. If it's this person's fault and WW3 kicks off, it's no different than if it's this person, like the US and UK's fault, or if it's... Who cares? The end result is the same. You're arguing over rust on the Titanic as it's sinking. Well, it's their fault. It's their fault. It's like, the boat is sinking. I don't give a damn whose fault it is. Ultimately, I'm a truth seeker, and I actually do care. But if the end result is all out, pandemonium, and I have to be perfectly honest with you, and I want to fold down the iPad here and just have a little heart-to-heart talk. Talk with people that have money and they can see it and are very worried, and the people that don't have it are very, very worried. I don't tell anybody what to do, and what you do with your life is your own business. I have no idea what your financial situation is. I don't believe in a class system. There are class systems of intelligence and wisdom, and there's the class system that everybody else thinks of in terms of money. There's actually many different classes. Ultimately, there's no class system, because water is water is water. There's pure crystal water that came from a artesian aquifer, which I have over here in glass bottles, and then there's dirty toilet water, but water is water is water. Everybody is the same ultimately as they pass through the eye of life and death. Okay? I know what the true class system is. True class system, by the way, is a spiritual caste system, say class system or caste system. Every aspect of anybody that doesn't have their head firmly rammed up a dark place right now is that they're aware that things are collapsing, it's moving fast, and the only thing that's going to matter is the important stuff. The important stuff is if you're in a foxhole and the lead is whizzing over your head, are you thinking about it? If you're not thinking about it, it's not important. It's about survival of you and your loved ones and your family. Do you have a place that you could tap from for water and for shelter? I can make my own clothing. I have land. It'll be the last thing taken from me shortly before, my life ends, whether my life is removed from me involuntarily or whether it's removed from me voluntarily. That I don't know. And it's not important. I'm not afraid of death, no way, shape, or form. Look into my eye if you think I'm afraid of it. I'm not. Having your head on a swivel and seeing what's going on in this world has become vitally important. Things are deteriorating in the United States. It's gotten to where you can't get service anywhere. Me and my buddy were trying to get off the plane yesterday in Lexington. This is just one example among countless tens of thousands that you could think of. We were stranded on the plane for a little over half an hour because there was nobody that wanted to work at the airport, and one of those people that didn't want to come to work is the guy that drives the jet bridge that presses up against the plane so you can get off the plane. So we were stranded on the plane. I kept getting called by the people that were picking me up. It's like, where are you? It says the plane has landed. Like, well, we can't get off. They don't have anybody the whole world, whether they can consciously see it or unconsciously see it, realizes things are collapsing and things are collapsing fast. I hate to see what the stock market does tomorrow and the reaction of gold, silver, and platinum is to the conflict that's going on right now in the place that you know where it is going on right now. And by the way, the response is going to be huge. Right now they're in some bunker somewhere determining what they're going to strike first and what and where. That's actually going on right now. I know that for 100% certainty. By the way, right now platinum is like $886 an ounce and silver is down to 21 something an ounce. If you're ever looking at buying silver or platinum right now is a top time to get same. Things are collapsing. They are. And they are being accelerated by this, humorously I've called them Hydra. You can call them the Great Cabal. Groceries keep getting higher. I just got $66, $67 worth of nothing at the grocery store. I mean, 2 small bags of groceries. That was $67. And that was cheap garbage. Me with no wife, no kids, no house payment, no car payment. If I'm complaining through my teeth at this, I know normal people, whatever you consider normal to be, wife and a kid and a house payment and a car payment, 1 or 2 kids, whatever, even just a wife and a house payment, they're struggling hard. Things are collapsing. I beg of you to make moves to protect yourself. It will become a time soon when the things that matter will not be how many zeros you've got in your checking account, but how much palpable stuff that you have on hand for your own safety, protection, and the things that will feed you, the things that will clothe you. I'm not a materialist at all. I'm the opposite of a materialist. But the time is coming very, very, very soon. It is upon us when you need to have things that will save you and feed you and clothe you. Land does most of those things. Land and lead are my 2 top favorites. Land and lead, the 2 L's. Try to remember that. Make your own decisions, but please, I hope you are not, don't have horse blinders on and going from work to home, and you don't see what's going on. Because it is ramping up fast. We're literally on the brink of Krakatoa, both financially and otherwise. Things are coming to a head. And when they peak and break, it'll be no different than when things peak or break during a hurricane in Texas. My buddies who I was talking with down in Naples, Florida, before, like 48 hours before the hurricane, they're like, well, I need some stuff at the grocery store, you know, some things, like some food, some water. And they went there, all the shelves are cleared. The people that wait till they hear the danger or see the danger coming over the hill, they will not have a chance to get anything. You have to make moves now. I do not consider myself a prepper. Do I believe in being prepared? Yes, I do. I don't like that idea or that moniker that people put on things. Nobody can afford a house now in the richest city in Florida, way more rich and well-to-do than Beverly Hills, California. I don't care what you think about Naples, Florida, or Beverly Hills. I couldn't care less. I don't care about politics. I care about brass tacks. You know, down to earth truth about things. You need to make preparations to whatever, like, well, I can't do much. Like, well, whatever you can do, you should be doing. Even if that is an arrangement to, live in somebody's barn on their farm, and in exchange, you do chores and work. Would you rather be trapped in a city up to your eyeballs in grief and danger, or, living in somebody's barn on a farm? And for someone, for example, that doesn't have anything, it's like, I have no ability to do anything. Well, you should be able to make an arrangement with somebody to do something. This is how it existed back in the medieval days and even way before then. And, survival and protection are paramount. And everybody makes sacrifices in life. I made countless sacrifices in my life for various things that I was going after. Wisdom and understanding. I've made more sacrifices than you'll ever believe for that. And I don't regret a single one of them. But, if you don't have any means, you will have to make sacrifices such that you're in a situation that isn't dire. And there are various options and ways of thinking about that and approaching answers to that. Having skills is not anything you can lay your hands on, but it is things that you can do with your hands. Like, I have skills. I will trade my skills for fixing things for, living on the backside of your farm, near the creek. I will do this for you and do that for you as an answer for people that don't have anything. Make an arrangement. Like, if it hits, I'll be able to do this for you in exchange for that. I have absolutely zero passive income, but I got a decent amount of land. And right now, I'm going to do it for $500. I'm not pitching anything to you, by the way. For $500 a month, I'm going to lease out to anybody that's available. Just send me your info. Because I have no passive income. None. But I do have land, and I have skills that I want to lease out my 10-acre mini farm with a creek on it and a huge barn on it. Huge 2-story barn and a beautiful pond. It has 2 gravel driveways, and it has a fence all around it, so it'd be perfect for someone who wants to have some sheep and some cows for feeding themselves, and a barn, and you could do anything with it. And I think for a 10-acre mini farm that has really great access, $500 a month, so that I could start to have some passive income is a really great idea. So I'm actually practicing what I preach. And I'll remind you that about 4 years ago, when I saw all this coming, well, it was less than 4 years ago, I sold everything I have. And boy, oh boy, this is the truth. There were 2 years there that my FedEx bills, measured into the multiple thousands of dollars. I sold everything I had, not glued down, because I saw what was coming, and I've got really good skills on land, and I bought land with it. Raw land. I know raw land really well. I literally sold everything I didn't need. So, there are people that make YouTube videos and they flap their lips and it's like, well, you're all talk. I have put what little bit of money I have where my mouth is at because I know this is coming. Everybody I know that has a half a brain, even a quarter of a brain, knows that this is coming. You make up your own decisions. I read every comment. If you ever want to contact me, my information and email is in the description below. I hope you have a lovely week, and I'll have an extra long live stream tonight. So I'm back from Naples, Florida, where I was working, showing magnetic sea exposure, electroculture, explaining magnetism, so on and so forth. They even built a special fractal antenna so that they could copy that and make them themselves. My own design. There's nobody else out there making fractal antennas for electroculture. I came up one, a perfect one that's easy to make. So thank you so much for watching, and have a lovely week. Lux Veritas.